Hello, true duelists. My name's Craig Fee, and as always, welcome to the Yu-Gi-Oh! Update. It's now October, and we're almost at the end of the second year celebrating 25 years of Yu-Gi-Oh! Don't you worry though, because the first set of 2025 will also include quarter-century secret rares, dragging the 25th celebration of Yu-Gi-Oh! For its third consecutive year. Something as stupid as it is funny, because we don't make common sense choices, we take common dollars. But what does this month hold for all the true duelists out there? 2 pairs of things, fun fact, 2 YCSs, and 2 packs dropping this month. OTS Pack 26 will be released on the 16th, with the only thing known at the time of my filming being the fact that it will have an ultimate rare copy of Lo, Prayers of the Voiceless Voice. So everyone that doesn't care can continue to not care, since there's fuck all information as of right now. Except of course the people getting hyped that play Voiceless Voice, who wish to make look better than its performance in the competitive game. There is of course one exception to this, of course, because double of course for the Australians, Australia will not be getting this set in this month. Or probably not even in this year, because what is an Australian livelihood other than delayed from some nonsense? And speaking of delays in regards to Australia, YCS Sydney for 2025 has been tentatively postponed. Apparently, due to unforeseen circumstances, there's been trouble with the venue, and so at the time of my filming, it's not clear if they're going to simply find a different venue other than the one that was initially planned but on the same weekend, or just outright switch the weekend entirely, completely fucking over anyone who booked ahead for this event. Nice! That's the standard for Australian lifestyle as I understand it, be it from their corporations or their government, just no clear transparency as to what the fuck it is that's going on. I, of course, have no idea how true that is or is not. I don't know anything about Australia really other than the fact that they don't get Yu-Gi-Oh! Sets on time. But based on the fact that I'm talking about corporations and government, I'm willing to bet I'm not too far from the truth. And back to Yu-Gi-Oh! Because fun fact, this show is not about life in Australia. Rage of the Abyss will also be dropping this month on the 10th. The next core set to come to the game adds support to fan-favorite archetypes such as Six Samurai and Mermail, as well as support for fan-fucking-hated decks like Snake Eye, who can use the new Azamina cards. And of course, it comes with the exact opposite of support for your wallet in the form of Max C2. Molcharmy Foolas, the bug made legal but as a bird for most practical senses and terms, is rightly expected to be one of the most impactful cards we've gotten in years, and pre-order prices for the Peasant Secret Rare, not even talking about the quarter-century Secret Rare that is much more expensive than this, are at roughly $200 USD. I've seen $205 on pre-order price from Gamer's Choice, and as low as $175 on Tier 0 games. And I think the initial price on the day pre-orders opened was like as high as $240. You know, an amount comparable to a monthly rent so that you can play a card as divisive as Max C, but marginally more balanced. Nice. Rhoda seems primed to be a good set, considering everyone is going to be buying it for a chance at the bird, and the solid cards in it like Dominus Impulse or the ever so hyped Mimighoul support. And it's also primed to be a set that people fucking hate, because of the goddamned bird, be it the gameplay it provides or the cost required to get one. Overall morale following this news, to no shock, has plummeted, as it comes among one of many things Konami has done in regards to their printing strategy and just decision-making at large as of late, that at best does nothing to help players get the cards that they want and need, and at worst, actively fucking hurts them in doing so. So that's the fantastic news that Rhoda brings, and it's rage of the player base as much as it is the goddamn Abyss. Unless the Abyss is in fact just playing Yu-Gi-Oh! In which case, yeah, there's some rage at the Abyss. And the machine. Ha! But hey, there's still one YCS to go before we see the bird explode in value. YCS Cancun will be taking place this weekend, starting tomorrow on the 5th and the 6th, followed by YCS Niagara on the weekend of October 12th and 13th, which will be our first look at how the bird-focused hand trap metagame becomes. Does that sentence make sense? Sure hope so. And I will not be shocked to see the price of that card go up following the top 32 lists from that event, because God, what number go up, man? That's the story of the universe. So fucking cool. And in the meantime, we can look forward to some other free bird events, and by that I mean bird free events, but free bird has, you know, Leonard Skinner implications, so deal with it. And namely, that's the 2 that happened last weekend, because we're about to switch over to talking about the YCSs from last weekend. Because there were two events to give us our first look at the current format for the short period of time it will exist in before the bird reshapes everything and the Azamina cards come out to help bolster things like Snake Eye, following that deck's hits on the ban list. The Team YCS in Santiago showed what a number of people were saying to be true, with Yugioh being the most represented deck in top 16. Tenpai held a strong second place, as a still strong deck of course, and a handful of Snake Eye lists did manage to say that they were the third most played deck, so kudos to Snake Eye for still kinda being a thing. The winning team was on all UL Fiendsmith, and all their players were playing that deck, because that's what that sentence means. They beat out two Tenpai and a Snake Eye for the title of the victors, not only to win the glorious vanilla prize monster that YCSs will give you, but also the glory of having their names and nothing else posted on the Konami blog. Because as of now, I can't get the image to load on any browser. I think there's just a fucking problem with it. So they didn't even share the pictures of the winners, just the name. So kudos to Konami for just really giving LATAM just the respect they apparently feel it deserves. That does broadly set the tone for this mini format though, is when you take a look at the results that are more apparent because of actual, presentation around it in YCS Lille, which took place in France as well this past weekend. It's the first European YCS in roughly 10 months. Because if one thing is clear from Konami, it's that they truly do care about exactly their own wallets. Some 1,897 duelists came out to play at the event, and only 32 would make it onto top cut. And what you may notice on this little pie chart showing your top cut is the apparent lack of Snake Eye. Snake Eye won the last 9 consecutive YCSs prior to these weekend's events, and this is the first time where you aren't seeing Snake Eye Ash take up like half the pie chart. In fact, nothing is, though there is a clear top dog in the form of Yubel, the deck you of course expect to see after Snake Eye falls out in the meta, so it's no shock that the best deck is being represented as the best deck, so to say. Some may be surprised by the absolute lack of Snake Eye, especially when compared to, say, YCS Santiago. However, there's only one pure variant here and one Fire King one, which could be due to the number of hits the deck did receive, as enough people seeing it as not quite good enough to be played, or of course, people are fucking sick of it because it's here, it's in the TCG, it's in Master Duel, it's just everywhere you fucking go. So there are plenty of possible reasons, and so many more just to be done with Snake Eye in general. Truly, what a format. Tenpai remains strong here too, again with the second most representation, and of all things, Chimera is technically the third most represented deck with 3 of top 32. Just so many decks lingering on this the verge of playability, but unfortunately, Fiendsmith Yubel. White Forest, Ritual Beast, Voiceless Voice, Labyrinth, and European Tier 1 Super Threat, of course, Plants. Because while Noel Hamel won the event entirely with Yubel, it was the second place player, Julius Schwarzkopf, that was on the Plant Link deck that really took the world by storm because, Jesus Christ, Europe cannot handle plants. The feature match in top 4 in particular, where he evenly matched and then Dark Ruler to board to just completely clean out his opponent, was truly something to witness. Still, a congrats to Noel, as mentioned, for winning the event, and to all Europeans for finally being able to play a YCS in 2024 at all. That's gotta be a nice thing after a 10-month wait. And of course, a big womp womp to Canada, who had 2 players in the top 4 at this event, and they both lost in the top 4, so it sucks to suck, I guess. Because if there's one thing Canada can't do, it's beat the French. That's just proven, and if you disagree with that, then why the hell does Quebec still exist? I also mentioned the update to prizing because I can do that. Because yeah, they finally, after months of discussion and criticism in regards to the state of prizing for the game and ways that it could be improved, and particularly chastising the continued handing out of Nintendo Switches in 2024, the Konami finally decided to step up and do something about it by changing nothing except replacing the Nintendo Switch with a Steam Deck. That's truly something else, isn't it? It's $200 more than the Switch, I think. It looks great next to a prize card, I'm sure. Those vanillas are just, the plain ass yellow brown border just goes great beside the Steam Deck. The events, of course, have set a strong precedent for the format overall, showing that the hits to Yubel and even to Tenpai didn't really stop them from competing, and while it's not the most popular, if Snake Eye can get some support a la the Azamina cards, it definitely seems good. It seems like it can continue to top events. but at least the Max C discussions can be coming back into the TCG by the time that comes into play, so maybe we can focus on that instead. Not that that's a new argument, but it's marginally more fresh for TCG players, right? Truly, what a time to be playing Yu-Gi-Oh! The next event, as mentioned, will be this weekend, YCS Cancun, and will be the last event before Fuelos. And we'll see if Yugioh can make a hat trick for YCS wins, because that'd be neat, I guess. One GX archetype to truly be decent enough to win YCSs. Shut the fuck up, hero players. You don't count. Big news this week that's not entirely unexpected, but is entirely welcome. If you've been playing this game long enough, you've probably noticed a certain type of product missing this past year. That is, we've received no new structure decks in all of 2024. The last one we received was the lazily named Structure Deck Fire Kings in 2023, which is a damn shame following the upgrades structure decks in general have received since 2020. Ones like the Trap Tricks or Fire King were solid right out of the gate, and even the Crystal Beast deck had very solid reprints if you don't assume that that's a solid deck. I don't care where you place Crystal Beasts, I just need to cover my ass for the Crystal Beast fans. Hell, even the Red Dragon Archfiend deck was a fine locals one if nothing else. And the good news is we are not getting a structure deck in 2024. That's the big news. Because the next structure deck we'll be getting will be in 2025. The Blue Eyes White Destiny structure deck will release on February 7th, 2025 and sets a lovely standard for structure decks in the TCG. The deck is confirmed to come with reprints for Blue Eyes fans, as if that's something we've been lacking at all over the last 26 years. But if by some chance you don't have a copy of Alternative Dragon or Jet or Sage with the Eyes of Blue, you can get reprints of them in this deck. And that's actually a playset of Sage with the Eyes of Blue, so how crazy is that? Don't worry, it gets crazier, because since you're going to need 3 copies of the structure deck to get all of the new cards, it means you'll be getting a playset of playsets. Exciting, isn't it? But in terms of what's truly exciting, it's the confirmed reprints of cards like Nibiru, Ash Blossom, Imperm, and Veiler. And the fact that there's also a chance to get a quarter-century secret rare copy of one of the new cards as well. That's right, of the 5 ultra-rare cards you'll be getting in the deck, you'll have a chance that one of them could be bumped up to quarter-century secret rare. As I understand it, this only applies to 3 specific cards, that being Maiden of White, Wishes for Eyes of Blue, or the Blue Eyes Ultimate Spirit Dragon, which can all be bumped up to the quarter-century secret rare. And I also believe it's only 1 in any given box. If you buy a box and all 3 are quarter-century secret rare, you're probably an idiot for not having bought a lottery ticket instead. But it does add some nice flair and a bit of gamba action to buying the product. It doesn't hurt anyone by not getting the quarter-century secret rares, but it does entice you to try and hope and get an exciting feeling when you pull the special box. So it's actually just incredibly smart and a solid win for the TCG. And since it is just a solid thing to have, it means we immediately have people complaining about it online, because what else is the internet? People point to the fact that in the OCG, they get a pack with a random card in it with their structure decks. And that pack will have 1 card with a chance to be of a higher rarity. A super rare from the deck might become a secret, or an ultra could be bumped to a quarter-century secret, whereas in our deck we only have a chance to get one of them as a quarter-century secret rare. So a chance for a rarity bump in the OCG as opposed to a chance for a rarity bump here in the TCG. And that's a pretty clear sign that Konami has ruined this product entirely, and they hate the TCG and it's worthless and evil, and the OCG is a utopia. And also it's exclusively Japan, because for whatever reason people who dick ride the OCG so goddamn hard are completely ignorant to the existence of Korea. Explain that? I sure can't. Either way, it seems like a very solid product to me, and a nice reminder that you cannot afford a copy of Magia, because unless that card gets a confirmed reprint in this deck, you are sure as shit not going to be able to play it. And the deck can. The new Blue Eye support can make good use of Dragon Master Magia, but you fucking can't, because you're a peasant. And you might not be, you might actually already have a Magia, but statistically speaking, you fucking don't. Most people watching this do not. So get fucked regardless. Either way, it's 1,000 trillion more years of Blue Eyes, and that's just Yu-Gi-Oh, baby. Master Duel has also received its ban list for October, and it seems that's following the tradition in ban lists these days, where there's a few useless hits that people are like, yeah, you could do that, and of course one card that moved that everyone's really focused on and talking about. The list is set to come into effect on October 10th, or next Thursday, and it is at least slightly more impactful than that last one that just gave Dragon Link Wyvern Burster back, so that's cool. Yugioh has seen the same expected results across formats broadly, that being like the deck that's on par or a little bit below Snake Eye, until Snake Eye gets hit and then it becomes the top dog. So there is of course a semi-limit to Phantom of Yubel and Dark Beckoning Beast and Spirit Gate. So that's good, right? They have slightly less consistency and slightly less grind game, even though they're still clearly gonna be like, it's great. Hilariously, the deck hit the most, I think, on this ban list was Tearlament, with them banning the field spell, Pearl of Rhino. Somewhat out of left field, but I suppose it did technically win Worlds, and they do still have Kit Kalos, so it's kind of like, how much of the deck can we kill while leaving Kit Kalos? It's just the Master Duel experiment. Not that that necessarily justifies hitting Tearlament more than the current, best deck in most people's eyes, but hey, what the fuck do I know? I just talk about Yu-Gi-Oh! And play it sometimes. Banning of the floodgates such as Ib and Jowgen are nice, considering they can't continue to be abused by Yubel or Voiceless Voice anymore. And it's kind of like, why don't you just ban Fossil Dyna as well instead of limiting it? But I suppose it's because it's not as cheated out from the deck and abused as other ones are. Seems like a pretty reasonable ban list for the most part, ignoring of course that one field spell depending on how deeply you love Tearlament, and it of course continues the tradition of doing nothing to stop Yubel, which is at least somewhat consistent across the various regions. Because if there's one thing that causes me to lose duels, it's that third copy of High Avatar Corinne. Oh sorry, I meant it's the third copy of Spirit Gates. I misspoke. I mean, it's the third copy of Phantom of the... There you go. It's totally... It's the third one that kills you, folks. I think we all know that's the truth. And so that wraps it up for this week's update. As always, I've been your host, Craig Fee. Thanks for watching. Hit subscribe if you would kindly. Not only will you be getting to see next week's update and the notifications if you do, but you'll also impress your smoking Italian wife, and most of all, you become a true duelist. And there is literally nothing more desirable than that.